Hey golfers, I am joined by master club fitter Harrison Arnold from our Minneapolis location. Today we are going to talk about spin rates and kind of how they relate to each club in the bag during your fitting. So spin rate is obviously one of the things that we talk about the most with a customer. Let's kind of start off with driver. What is like the ideal spin rate you're looking for someone to have?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends what you call optimal, right? I mean, we see a lot of these different charts. It really depends on how you're delivering the golf club. Depends on how much ball speed you have too. Someone who has a little bit less ball speed and they're hitting a couple of degrees down of it, that number is going to be very different to someone who's swinging very fast, getting a lot of ball speed, and swinging 4 or 5 degrees up. You're right. So, I think a good rule of thumb is somewhere kind of in that 2,500 range, right?
Yeah.
But very dependent on either side of what on what this individual's coming in for, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you how many golfers I've had that ask me, what should my spin rate be at? And it's a very loaded question because it is very dependent on how you are delivering that golf club. If someone is swinging up on the golf ball, their spin rate optimally is going to be a little bit lower because they're naturally going to launch it higher. If they are swinging down on it, they don't create a lot of height. You need that spin to actually keep the ball more airborne. What are some tendencies that you've found that cause spin rate to be a little higher than you would like it to be?
I mean, first and foremost, anything that's coming out the heel, which usually comes from someone swinging quite across the golf ball. When you're swinging across the golf ball, you're also going to be you're going to naturally hit down on the golf ball too. So anyone who's kind of coming in and go, I've got a bit of a slice, I struggle with hitting the ball out the heel. Well, that's I'm going to have a pretty good guess that they're going to be a pretty high spin player. We're going to have to find a solution towards that, right?
Yeah. What are kind of some strategies that you use to address a high spin rate?
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I think first and foremost, trying to get some weight into that heel side, that's going to make a huge difference. Just going to give it a little bit more mass behind that head. So when they do hit it in there, just kind of a bit more solid contact, a bit more ball speed. That's going to help to sort of neutralize some of that fade as well. Another thing, if they're hitting down on the golf ball, adding a little bit of loft is going to help them launch it in the right windows too. That alone is just going to get them to closer to optimal.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I would say, like, for myself, I can speak to this really well because this is how I swing. Not everyone needs to actually take spin down. I am one of the cases where I need more spin on my golf ball to actually keep it airborne. Spin is really what keeps the ball in the air. I mean, your launch angle is going to get it there, but your spin rate keeps it there, as I like to say. So making sure that we have the right spin rate to keep that ball airborne, carrying, and still allowing for good rollout is going to be just as important as bringing spin rate down. Ping has a great chart that we kind of reference if you ever come in for a fitting with us. We'll show it to you. It all just kind of breaks down ball speed based on attack angle and just kind of what the optimal ranges are. And I mean, the launch angle on their range is anywhere from like 2.5 degrees all the way up to, I think, 14. I mean, there's a wide range of optimal, and that's why you kind of come in and see one of us and really get working towards that optimal goal.
Yeah, and I think a big thing with driver spin as well, you got to kind of come in with a idea of what you're really looking for too, right? Yeah, we can come in and try and fit you into something that's optimal, right? But that might not mean it's going to be great for you on the golf course. Like, personally, I don't play an optimal spinning driver. I like to see spin be 300 or 400 higher than optimal so that if I hit it into the right side of the fairway and I've mishit it, it has half a chance of sticking in that fairway just because a bit more spin on there to kind of like keep me in play a bit more. Vice versa, rough to the trees, which is more often than not, right? But
100%.
But same idea. If you're going to hit a bit of a draw, a little bit of hook, that extra bit of spin is just going to keep that ball in the air, gives you a little bit more control.
Yeah, and then kind of moving into the irons, spin rate there is going to be completely different. With a driver, more often than not, we're working to take spin off. With an iron, we're actually trying to add spin. The reason for that is we're really trying to achieve descent angle and just more stopping power, really. Where would you say the optimal range for most golfers, let's say swinging in the 70 to 80 mile an hour range, is going to be for spin rate and land angle?
Yeah, I think land angle, I think that magic number is 45 and up, right? I think if we can get you to 45, anything on top of that is just kind of cherry on top of the cake, right? Spin, so anywhere kind of that 5,500, 6,500, good rule of thumb, depending on how they're launching it, how much land angle they're getting, I think that's a good sort of baseline to start with.
Yeah, and I mean, as you see these days, like, iron lofts are getting a lot stronger. And what happens with that a lot of times is we kind of lose spin. We lose peak height. We lose stopping power. That can also kind of get into where people are starting to see a lot more flyers now where they catch something with a little bit of grass in between the ball and all of a sudden it's 15 yards longer. So I over the years have kind of developed a tendency to definitely lean players towards a higher spin model. It gives them a bit more of what I call a spin reservoir, where if we do drop spin, it's not going from 4,000 to 3,000, it's going from 5,000 to 4,000.
Yeah, sure.
So we're controlling distance a lot better. We're still seeing height. We're still seeing land angle and stopping power, but we're not focusing so much purely on just distance.
Yeah, and I think distance looks really great on paper, right? You come into a fit and you go, oh, so you've gained 25 extra yards.
Yeah.
But if we're sacrificing land angle and sacrificing spin, well, that's not going to help us on the golf course to actually bring our scores down, right?
No, not at all. And that's why, again, I just getting a lot more players out of a 4-iron, even a 5-iron, into a hybrid, just because it does spin and launch a lot better. Yeah. It also has a little more ball speed, which doesn't hurt. But yeah, I mean, if I had one number on TrackMan, honestly, that I could use to fit a player, I think it would be spin. Just because the spin rate's in the right spot, typically we're going to have pretty good results.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's very interesting kind of in the fitting bay, seeing how, trying to fit someone into those longer irons, filling in those gaps and seeing, we've not touched anything past 37 degrees of land angle with a 5-iron.
Yep.
But as soon as we put that higher in the bag, we're well above into the 42, 43s. Spins in a good window. It's like just crazy to kind of see how just changing the sort of head shape is going to be able to help them too.
Yeah, for sure. And then kind of getting into the bottom portion of the bag, when it comes to wedges, I'm not typically basing wedge fitting off of just which one spins the most. What I'm really looking for across the board with a wedge is just consistency. Yeah. I want to make sure that when you full swing that, it's going to run back 4 yards or it's going to roll out 2 feet. I just want it to be the same pattern every time and be predictable. Because as a high-level player yourself, you know how important spin control is.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things you got to kind of really think about when you're coming in for those fittings, right? And go, okay, am I struggling with spin, or am I struggling with it being consistent? Because if you're pitching in if you can pitch in a pretty good window every single time, well, okay, then the next idea is, okay, if I'm going to play a medium turf condition golf course, pretty soft, and then the next week we're playing soft greens. Okay, do I actually have too much spin on this golf ball round? And kind of adapting from there. Because the worst thing is when you hit it, pitch it on a great number, and then it spins back 20 feet. Well, you haven't actually done anything wrong.
Yeah.
We haven't got the right setup for this
Absolutely.
course.
No, I think this has been a great conversation on spin. Golfers, if you want to come in and get your spin rates dialed in with a fitter like myself or Harrison, stop into one of our many locations. If you want to work with someone online, there are also online fitters available.